I've got a full library of hours of me actually with a mic in the gym, which is horrible and scary at the time recording because everyone's looking like, is he talking to? Grow your brand first, get the eyeballs in, because unfortunately in the world we live in, people look at followers, they look at engagement first before they even look at anything else, and that attracts more eyeballs because they're like, oh, what's all the attention about?
But you sometimes think, is it just that person stands out because of how they look, or you know, maybe they got a little cheeky over the shoulder, like, ooh, I think I can't really get away with doing that. Hi, welcome to the Feeling Content Podcast. Today I'm with Kofi Richards, who is the founder of Shapeshifter Performance. Shapeshifter Performance help athletes and footballers get that 1% out of their performance on and off the pitch. Really looking forward to this episode because I think there's a lot of similarities in what Kofi does in regards to performance and also in regards to producing content that I hope you'll all get a lot of takeaways from. Again, with the podcast, feel free to like, follow, share, all that kind of stuff, and you can watch and listen on most platforms. Massive thanks for coming today. Really excited to have you on the podcast. The main thing for me is when we spoke and when I've seen what you're doing on social media, there's a lot of similarities between what you do in regards to strength and conditioning coach and getting extra out your athletes, and similarities to what people are doing with content and social media. So I'm hoping there's a bit of crossover there that people are really going to learn off that. Yeah. When we had a conversation, the one thing that I thought were really interesting, you were talking about wanting to grow your brand or growing your brand, but not wanting to become an influencer. So just talk me through like your thinking about that.
I think it is more the vanity metrics. So are you going for likes and brand deals off the end of it? Are you going for engagement and then conversion into sales off the end of it as well? So with me, I feel like even if I get a video that does really well and gets lots of views, lots of clicks or likes or whatever you want to call it, it's not about just sticking to that video and just carrying on doing it. It's about, okay, use that to grow and use it as leverage to invite new people in, but also take the hits with the old likes and engagement, but you're still advertising exactly what you're doing within your niche and your business. So for me, that would be showing results, testimonials of athletes, players coming through and that I'm working with, but also being able to couple that alongside videos that are tips that anyone can try, anyone can do. And I think they work well as well because people look at it, they'll like it, save it, and they can go and try it in the gym. Yeah. Whereas not everyone's looking at your results, looking at what you're doing well within your business, liking and saving it. But there is a small target audience for that at the same time. So it's just finding that balance between the two. And it's quite easily done to get carried away with the engagement and the likes, especially when you get a little bit of attention off it. So you just think, oh, this is it. I'm just going to go viral off every video now. I found the structure, I found the code. But
and then the next video you do exactly the same. And
it just, it plummets straight away. And then it does hit your mood as well a little bit. But that's why I try to make the difference between growing a brand, making a business out of it long term, rather than going the influencer route. Because I think the big thing about it is I feel like I can still post content 10, 15 years down the line rather than jumping on common trends here and now to build that kind of viral clip and, the influencer side of things. Yeah.
Is there any thing that you've seen, any kind of trends or types of content that you've seen that have worked in your industry that you've, tried to avoid?
Oh, try to avoid.
Or anything that you've been tempted by and thought, is it going to work? Should I do this?
I think it is more that vanity side of it. So especially trainers with, it sounds a bit weird, but trainers with good physiques will be doing tips videos half naked at the time. Didn't want to go down that route at all. And it's almost like they'll get engagement based off how they look rather than the actual substance they're giving. Yeah. So that's one route I didn't like to take. I did go down the route of basically criticising all the elites and all the pros at one point, which did well because it's quite controversial. Yeah. But I also don't want to be the guy that just takes a mick out of everyone.
No,
So-
but I think they're quite good hooks, though, aren't they?
Yeah.
And I think that's something you still do really well. So your opening line sometimes will be like, "Oh, look at what this person's doing." But then it's actually it's what you're actually talking about is really positive.
Yeah.
But that first kind of hook makes you think, especially if you're into the performance side of things. I think in football and just general, people who are athletes, they're always looking for that little bit extra, aren't they, to get the competition. So if you start with someone who goes, what's this person doing? You're thinking, oh, God, I don't know, FOMO, fear of missing out, I better watch this. I think that's something you've done really, really well. I think the other thing is, like you said, like the vanity side of things, I think, especially for, predominantly I'm on Instagram, not so much on like TikTok, but I think the whole how people look, it's unavoidable. It seems to be the thing that, gets pushed. And I'll sometimes look in my industry and you look at things and you can go, right, okay, that person's had loads of likes, follows, engagement, but the content itself isn't necessarily great.
Yeah.
And this isn't me being, negative about it, but you sometimes think, is it just that person stands out because of how they look, or maybe they got a little cheeky over the shoulder, like, I think I can't really get away with doing that. So it's like, what do I do that's still going to get that kind of like engagement without, doing like I say, a little look at me kind of thing. So I think, it's definitely an interesting one. Are there any kind of trends or anything you've seen that has worked really well for you?
Yeah, definitely. From when I really started to pick up engagement and grow it right at the start, it came from doing tips videos. So I'd put a football player on screen and it'd be like a Mahrez or Ronaldo or something doing a certain skill move or showing their speed or something like that. And basically the hook would be use these plyometrics or use these exercises to increase your sprint speed or increase your fast twitch, things like that. And then it would cut to me doing some sort of exercise that would help with the specific area. Now, I saw loads of people doing it and it was a big craze at the time. I'd say probably 3 years ago now. But I added my own little spin to it as well. So everyone was doing, when you just type it on screen. So you're reading it as the video's going on. But I thought I'm going to add an AI voiceover to the video, so it's a little bit more universal.
Yeah.
And sometimes not everybody's going to just sit there and listen or, to the music or just read what you've got to say on the screen. So I thought the hook would be this AI voiceover, and it comes across really like, it's very bland and basic, but it's like, use these plyometrics to increase your sprint speed. And then it cut to me doing plyos or doing some sort of exercise that would help with the speed or the power or the strength. But also the good thing about that is I was using clips and football clips that were already viral anyway.
Yeah.
So it was almost like people were engaging and clicking likes and liking the video because they liked the player before I've even come into the camera. And the skill move was always quite impressive. So people would like it before I even appear on screen. And then you add a little bit of education behind it as well. I think that was massive for me, was trying to educate and grow and the brand that way. So you've got that style of video, but then also on the testimonial and results kind of thing, use, instead of just being like, I don't know, this guy's improved on his speed over this period, I looked at how agencies kind of display, like football agencies, and the way they display their players is quite clever because it's all very branded and in your face, and it's almost like a collage of players, and they're all on screen. And I thought, I'm going to try and adapt that in my own sort of way. And then without getting too sciencey, because people get bored and switch off, they don't want to read everything. I just thought, let me just introduce some sort of percentages instead and show results that way. So it's like taking little bits from everyone really, and then trying to add your own sort of style to it. And then most recently it was being on screen, and I saw this guy, I think it was this Irish guy, who said, this session is absolutely rubbish. Is what everyone else who doesn't understand the industry would say, something like that as the hook. And then he'd go in to educate. And I did that as well, but just added my own spin onto it. And I think a lot of the time people get too complicated with trying to add their own spin to things, whereas your spin on it is your personality. And I think that's what I'm trying to understand more, is I don't have to have anything, specifically like special to say, but I'll be so different to everyone else. But my personality is the niche, and it's that's something different to what someone else is doing, even if it's a similar style of video.
I like that, because it's like one of the strains for, as a business is producing content. It can be quite time consuming. So I think everything that you've just said there in regards to looking at what's already working for other people is taking that strain of I've got to reinvent the wheel and just taking a little bit of time to go, what's working in my industry across social media? Okay, that's where I identified that. Now, how do I just change 1% of it to fit what I'm doing? And it's just, like I say, the smart thing when you're taking clips from already successful reels and people, they're seeing it in yours, they're already, they've already got, the algorithm's already feeding them stuff of Ronaldo, Messi. So, they've almost got that muscle memory where I'm going to click like. So that's helping you out.
Yeah.
But then obviously once they pass that initial 1, 2, 3 seconds, you then feeding them with the actual information that's important for their own performance. Yeah. So again, it's just working smarter. Yeah. I think that's a massive piece of advice or theme for anyone who's out there, especially if you're one man, one woman band. You're trying to produce content on a daily frequency. How can you work smarter?
I think a massive thing as well is you do grow into whatever you're doing as well. So I remember being at uni and first starting out the Instagram page and everything, and saying to one of my best friends, was like, I'm never going to put my face on the screen. Like, that is not me at all. I'm going to be behind the brand, like the man behind the scenes, where everyone's going to know the logo and everything. Almost, I want to build it up like a kind of like a Nike, a little bit mystique, but. I'd rather go that route rather than having my face all over it and talking. And then even now, like when I do talking videos with like my face on screen and things like that, I'm not always 100% comfortable with it. But each time you do it, it's like another repetition of just practicing it and getting more comfortable in it and growing with it. But the first few videos are always really awkward, and you're always like messing up your lines and you don't quite know what to say.
We know about that.
That's it.
We've had recording days where it's like, we've recorded for like half an hour, so we've got nothing yet. But sometimes the outtakes are actually really interesting and really good to put out there.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's a massive piece of advice I'd like to give to anyone who's just, everyone starts from probably being not that good. There's a few that just naturally take to the camera, of course. And
they end up becoming the influencers.
Yeah, exactly. But a lot of people struggle at the start, not quite comfortable, but you just grow into it over time. You find your own little patterns of ways of working things. And one thing for me that works, which I've found off just watching a lot of YouTube and podcasts and other people doing it, is just act like the camera's one of your friends. So that's what I try and do now. If I'm talking to the camera, then I'll always think, right, this is so-and-so in front of me, who's one of our really close mates. Good. And that helps, because then it settles your tone, it settles your nerves, it settles everything you're going to say.
And you're coming across as yourself rather than trying to perform.
Yeah, definitely. Like, even my friends say, now your videos are coming through, your personality is coming through in the videos, whereas before you could tell, not necessarily they were bad, but it was a little bit scripted, a little bit rehearsed. Yeah. That's a good little bit of advice.
And do you enjoy that side? Do you enjoy being the face of the brand now then?
I'm growing into it. I'm growing into it. Like, I'll record a video of myself and I won't look at it again. Once it's posted, I can't look back. So there's a few, especially before I post it, it's really weird actually. Like, if I've recorded and I feel like this is a good one, and then I'll have it on repeat because I quite like the way it's all come across. Yeah. But then as soon as it's out there, I can't look at it again. So I don't know. I think I'm starting to get more comfortable with it. But it's always like, as soon as it's out in the world, then I pull back from it and I don't want to look at it again because it's up to the judgment of everyone else.
I'll sometimes be like, I'll do a piece and it'll be one that I really like and I think, oh, this is great. And I'll post it. I think this is going to be a good one. I get like one like... Like, wow. I was like, really? That was taking me ages and it's really good. Like, and I'll be looking at it from did it come across well? Was it technically good? It's like, boom, there's just nothing happening. And the ones that you think ain't that great, they teach you perform. It's like, wow, okay. But then again, it's vanity metrics. Like the ones that maybe don't get many likes, it probably only takes one person to actually like it and it converts into a sale. Yeah,
and I think that's the biggest thing about trying to build a brand. It only takes that one person. It has to be the right person. Yeah. Then you get a message off someone, that's engagement. Can you help me out with this? You go away, you make up a phone call, and then you can help them out that way. But it all stems from your content.
When you first set up Shapeshifter Performance, the brand was more about what it does in regards to, and we'll go into this in more detail, like getting more out of athletes, helping them on their on and off the pitch. It was going to be about the logo. So you made similarities with like Nike, and I always think that's massive. Like, you know, logos, they aren't the brand. The brand is much bigger than just a logo.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, you know, we all recognise McDonald's because of the golden arches. We all recognise the swoosh Nike. So the logo is still an important thing. But that was going to be your brand, was what you do and how the logo looks, and it wasn't going to be you as a person. What was the trigger where you thought, okay, this has to change? I have to now maybe put my face on it a little bit more. Was there something that wasn't quite working?
Yeah, it was quite recent, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say it was quite recent. So it was about a couple of years ago where the first videos kind of went viral, if you like. So a couple of them hit like 500K to 1 million, which when you don't know... Well, when you come from just nothing on social media, when you hit those numbers, you're like, oh, we're flying here. Yeah. But then if you don't want to go the influencer route, and then you convert it to more business side, all that engagement goes. So I'd say I've spent the last 18 months trying to figure out how can I still get engagement and grow the business at the same time. And that's when it kind of clicked for me a little bit, because I saw other people, especially influencers, unfortunately, but they have a massive personal brand because their personality shines on camera. So I thought I should probably try and put my personality on camera a little bit more, because then people don't always just associate Shapeshifter Performance with like athletes and everything. They'll think Shapeshifter Performance and Kofi. It's like it's almost goes hand in hand, really. So yeah, I'd say probably about 3 months ago, and I've done a few face videos on screen, but I never felt comfortable doing them. So I'd always put them off until last resort, until I had a really good idea. And I'd say, yeah, it's only been about 3 months ago where I've done it on a consistent basis and got the engagement that I needed from it. And it's actually working really well now, because when I speak to the market audience that I'm aiming for, players, athletes, agents, things like that, they already feel like they know me. Yeah. So you're not like a cold direct message or anything like that. So when I, message someone and say, oh yeah, you're looking really good, they'll be like, oh, hi Kofi, yeah. And it's almost like that interaction's there because they've seen your face on screen, your personality over time. So yeah, hopefully that just grows from here, really.
It's quite an intimate thing, really. You're helping someone on their career, because we're talking about, footballers, athletes who are anywhere in their journey. So there can be anyone who is an academy player to anyone who's just got a pro contract or a seasoned professional, but they want to get more. They may want to extend their career. They may want to start a career. They want to get to a higher level. It's not just about, do these exercises, you're going to get better. It's very much a data-driven service where you look at, okay, where are your successes? How are you actually performing in numbers? And, so you have to get to know that person physically, mentally, what drives them, what pains they may be having that they wouldn't necessarily tell their coach because they don't want to be, well, you can't play or whatever. So they have to have quite a good relationship with you. They have to trust you. And I think that's where you putting your face out there and your personality out there maybe helps the business, because like you say, by the time people contact you, they've already had those several touch points where they can see the science behind it. They can see that you know what you're doing because you will give tips. You will commentate on what other professionals are doing. Mm-hmm. So by the time they contact you, they already feel like they know you.
Yeah.
But obviously there's going to be people watching this episode who don't necessarily know what you do. So just talk us through, what does your role look like on a day-to-day basis? Aside
from the social media stuff, I'm a performance coach for elite athletes, specialising in strength and conditioning for professional football players and academy pros, really coming through, both on the women's and men's side of the game, and then obviously from under 14s, 15s, 16s, all the way up to professional level. So day to day, there's a lot of data monitoring, so monitoring how people are performing physically, whether that's on the pitch and they send me their GPS data and we look at things that way and monitor things on that side, or in the gym, which is where they'll do programs with me and I can monitor things that way as well with them. But a lot of that as well is not only just the physical things they're doing, is doing calls and messaging with my players and athletes, checking how they're getting on day to day throughout the week, how they're responding well to the training. because sometimes they could do really well in whatever session they're supposed to do, but they might not be feeling great. So you have to take that judgment. Okay, we'll strip it back and we'll do something else for this week, focus more on recovery. Like you said, building that trust with them. And because I am working one-to-one with players, because it's unbiased from the club and whatever environment they're in, well, you become their go-to guy. Yeah. So any sort of struggles, whether that's, sometimes it's not even, performance related, it's just confidence wise. Players aren't getting selected, so they need to get more minutes. And they can feel like they can speak to me because it's a safe space.
And you built that trust.
Yeah.
And I think, again, when we talk about, businesses, so, whether we're selling a product or a service, the thing people always say is that people buy from people. And in order to do that, you have to build trust. So a lot of what you're doing is building that trust. Even before they've even contacted you, you're building that trust. So by the time you're providing the service, you've already established that, where they will tell you what's going on off the pitch as well. And like you say, with sports and football especially, a lot of performance is based on confidence.
Massive.
And most people who played the game will say confidence is the biggest thing, about getting the most out of a player. So with you then in your business and Shapeshifter Performance, there's other businesses out there doing it, and your audience, they won't just be looking at Shapeshifter Performance. They'll be looking at what other teammates are doing, what other players in other teams, where they go. What do you think separates you from similar businesses in the strength and conditioning field? Why did they come to you as opposed to someone else?
I mean, from a performance and a sports science point of view, what I could offer is year-round development. There's other businesses out there that focus more on off-season work or pre-season work. And then I'd even say my main competitors are the clubs, really, not even many other coaches, because the clubs look after the players all season, and you're in that bubble where you feel like you've got everything, and this is, you don't want to expand beyond the bubble. And if you do, it's just completely too high risk. You're going to get injured straight away. So, it's just offering that year-round physical performance development pathway for players to come through, not just to improve on their speed or just to improve on their power, but just to excel across their career and in their life, really, over multiple seasons, over multiple years. And you're on that journey with them as they go through it. So it's not just, which is the mistake I made at the start, which was, I can improve your speed. But then once you've done that, they're kind of like, cheers. And then they move on and they carry on. Whereas now it's a lot more, long-term development, working with players across multiple seasons. They go to different teams, different clubs, things happen, but then they still stay with me as well, which is really good. I'd definitely say that year-round structure of building that trust, building their performance, and helping them excel in their careers from there, really.
You working with an athlete. I came to do some filming, and this is where I thought, I want to get this guy on my podcast, because you film your own content when you're working with athletes. And I think at the time you were set up, so you set up your cones, you set up the session. I was getting my camera out. I think probably at a similar time as you were setting up your cameras, you brought out a white balance kind of thing. I thought, well, that's the same one I've got. It's like you just don't see many people look at those details when they're doing video production. Who don't necessarily do it for a job, because that's your second skill, I suppose, to actually check those little details. Like, I'm going to get the white balance right. I thought, okay, this guy clearly knows something about producing content. And when I really thought about it is, again, we always look at content in regards to stuff that's going on social media. So there's stuff that's either raising awareness or selling a service. But content for you is deeper than that as well, because a lot of your service users, a lot of your clients, a lot of your athletes, you are staying in touch with them remotely. So it's not someone that you're seeing in a gym on a daily, weekly basis. They can be anywhere across the UK, international. So just talk us through how you're using content to kind of maintain relationship, not just start a relationship, but what kind of stuff do you do on a day-to-day basis in communication with your athletes that kind of ties into your use of content as well?
Yeah, good question to be fair. I think
Curveball.
Yeah, there are a few athletes that I work with in person. So yeah, you are coaching them at the time, but then you do have to have your camera as well, and you do record what you can, but then you can't lose focus of coaching the session.
Yeah.
So you have to find the right balance. And I did just think, let me invest in a camera and a setup more, because I actually really enjoy the editing side of things. Yeah. It's almost like, I find that's like the fun part of the business. Yeah. Is I get Premiere Pro up and I start editing. I've never learned how to do anything, but I just enjoy it. I love putting it to the music that I like and clipping it.
You can call work me because I don't like it. Really? Editing side of things. Yeah. I like the shooting. The editing, like, oh man, here we go. So you can come and work here.
Yeah, that's it. So I think that's why I invested in the camera initially. And then, day to day, I think it's just about getting the balance between what you're posting. So there's some performance brands that only post training sessions all the time, whereas I will post little snippets of what we've done, even if it's, a while back, but just like a nearly freshly edited version of that session. And it's a direct. I like to keep my own style to it, and I think that's probably why I haven't got any sort of outreach to anyone to edit or film for me, because the athlete himself or herself in the video is a direct representation of me as well. Yeah. So when they're performing well, that's a direct representation of my coaching. Yeah. And I feel like the style of it as well, you almost get like a coach's point of view. So because I'm filming as the coach and they're watching it, so it's a little bit different to maybe getting someone in and they're filming the coach and the athlete together, and then it just feels like you're on the sideline.
Yeah, but you're getting your
mine's a bit more of a POV. Yeah. So I feel like that helps as well. A lot of the time they do share it and they do post it with you and things like that. So collabs and things, but then that also shows other athletes, oh, okay, this guy is serious because he's working with so-and-so, and it builds on there.
You also use content to communicate them, talking them through how's your week gone. It's not just a case of you can't just rock up at the house, and it may be using Teams or whatever to speak to them, making sure that they've got access to material so that they can run their sessions. People always think of content as something that's kind of out there, raising awareness of the business, but you're using it also just to maintain your services to your clients and maintain that relationship. So maybe like a library of exercises that they can do, which again, you still have to have a grasp of how to record that, how to edit it, and how to make it something that they can understand and follow.
I didn't even think about that side of it. Yeah. I think when you're in it so much, you do miss bits, but yeah, no, definitely. It's definitely, it's good to have, especially when you want an athlete to do something very specific for them and their individual needs, to have that library of yourself and you doing the exercises that you want, that you can send to players and you can include within the program, so that when they are working remotely and on the road, they know exactly what they're doing. And I've got, a full library of hours of me actually with a mic in the gym, which is horrible and scary at the time recording, because everyone's looking like, is he talking to you? I've got a proper mic and everything, and I'm doing the exercise and I'm coaching them through it. Yeah. So that helps as well, which is really good. But yeah, like I said at the time, it's a bit awkward.
Yeah, and again, that's one of the things, when I came across your Shapeshifter Performance brand, that was one of the things that really stood out to me. It's quite brave doing any recording, putting it out there anyway, even if you're just in a room on your own, but to do it in a gym where there's other people. But the quality of what you do in regards to the technical quality of the content has always been really good. Oh. But like I say, the thing I really appreciate is how you have to step out of your comfort zone to do that. And I think since getting to know you as well I think you're quite a reserved person. Yeah, so it's it's kind of that battle, isn't it? It's putting yourself out there in front of people and doing it. Yeah. But you're quite reserved as well. So it's like I say, massive credit to what you're doing. But I really wanted to pick up on the content you produce in regards to the knowledge base, things that your athletes, your service users can tap into. Because I think when, again, business owners is, and especially your small business, we always think of content is that's going to get me work. Mm-hmm. And it's about how can we work smarter and more efficiently. And it's like sometimes that content you're doing to get you work can also have multi-purpose, because you can use that to, keep clients as well. So you can give them stuff. And, this can go across industry. So, working with, if we stay in a similar kind of field to you, but looking at maybe recovery. So people like physiotherapists, sports massages, it's what content can you produce that people can use, later on down the line to keep them coming back to you, because they can only get that, with you.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that you do really well. One of the things that you're really keen on is getting that extra 1%. Where did that idea come from? That extra 1%. What's the idea behind that?
From a young age, I've always been obsessed with, like, people call it like glory hunting, but I've always been obsessed with the best within sport, like any sport. So sprinting, basketball, rugby, football, any sport. If I see a male or a female athlete doing well, I'm like obsessed with how they're doing it.
Yeah.
Because when you look at it from a broad picture, everyone should be on a level playing field.
Yeah.
But there's always one or two that just excel beyond everyone else. And I feel like when you get deeper into the why behind their excelling, that's when you find the 1% in their performance, whether that's the colour of their bedroom because it helps them sleep better at night, or they train exactly at the same time every day, every Tuesday, every Wednesday, because they're good with structure throughout the week rather than just winging it as they go through. Individualising programs for athletes, so it's like one athlete, he's on the same team as another, but he's doing something totally different in a different corner of the gym because he's got to work on other individual needs, and an athlete would be doing something completely opposite as well, but they're both excelling at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think, you just look at different patterns and the way it works within different athletes coming through, and finding what works for them and all the different kind of attributes that they need to succeed within their career. And that's where the 1% comes in. And it comes down to a lot of data, looking at how they perform on the pitch, what they do in the gym, lots of sports science and all the metric side of it. And the differences between someone making a 5% improvement in their power, for example, in sport is monumental to someone just making 1% difference, if that makes sense. So, I think it comes down to being obsessed with what makes an athlete the best at what they do, and then finding out the root cause of it and the structure and how to get the best out of someone.
Yeah. Is there any specific athlete that you've been really inspired, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in football, but you've really been inspired about their story and what they've done? Like, people always go to like your Ronaldos and your Messis, but is there anyone in there you thought what they've done, or it's been really inspirational for you?
I think the big one, and I think it's just because it's a little bit closer to home, it's probably a little bit cliche, but it's Jude Bellingham.
Yeah, okay.
He grew up in Stourbridge, which is like 15, 20 minutes away from me.
Yeah.
And the way he's kind of got to where he is and the level he's operating at, which can translate across anyone's career, anyone's life. But I think because it was so close to home, then seeing it, and he was the type of player that you hear about in school. He says he was at Bellingham City Academy, and I'd have friends go and try it at them, and they're like, there's this lad who's a couple of years below us, he's unbelievable. Yeah. So you hear about him from when you're a teenager to where he is now. I think it's really inspirational to see. As long as you stick to it, you can get to whatever level you can.
Yeah, he's always been a big inspiration in my house. Obviously I've got 3 young lads who all play football, and I think they were of that age where Jude was breaking through. But I think it's always, like I say, people always look at your Messis and Ronaldos, but I think by the time my kids were already aware, then they were already achieving great things. I think Jude Bellingham came out of an academy, like you say, came out of Birmingham, which, it's a good academy, but it's not a, top 6 Man City, Man United, Arsenal kind of academy. He's come through their whole kind of system. And just everything about him, it's not just what he does on the pitch. Like, everyone's always amazed with how well he handled media. And definitely. Even stuff like, I was always really impressed with, his visualization, how he talked through like what his preparations are before games. Like, by the time he's stepped on the pitch, he's already played it, every variation, because he's visualized. And I think, that's something that even if you're not a footballer or an athlete, that whole kind of being comfortable to visualize and, look at the outcomes in your head is a massive thing for success.
Yeah, I think as well, like off the pitch, like there's such a close-knit family as well. So he's really close with his parents, his brother. And you can almost, I see like similarities with my family with that like support system where, if things are getting tough and you need someone to lean on, you can block out all the noise because you've got your family and your structure there coming through. And it's nice to, when you hear that their parents look after them instead of like an agent and things like that, and they've moved to whatever club they're going to and one of the parents is there. So I'd say that is a big inspiration just because it's very similar, and it also, not that not everyone's going to play for Real Madrid, but it's like you can start from within the Midlands and work your way up to whatever you want to do in life.
Really good example. I'm going to put it back to a little bit of content side of things. So, and you talked about this now, guys, you enjoy content, you enjoy the editing side. When we were speaking the other week, you were saying that with your content production, you used to be a little bit like, not haphazard, but, it'd be like anyone. You'd wake up in the morning and think, right, okay, I need to produce content for these platforms. What have I got? What am I going to do? And you're saying that most recently you switched to more of a structured approach. So you have like content days. What do they look like?
Yeah, so it's every Tuesday now. And I think I started this about 6 weeks ago. So up until this point, it's just been winging it. Like whatever I feel like doing on the day, I'll just do it, which is good because it is less pressure, if you like, but it's bad because when you're not motivated, you don't get anything out. So I needed to switch that to more of a disciplined approach rather than just operation on when I feel good about doing content, really. So I do it on a Tuesday. I wake up in the morning and I'll just get my weekly batch done. And I've got a structure that I work through that covers all bases of the content that I put out, really. So it's not just repetitive. But it's helped me massively, like I said, with the discipline side of it. And not every Tuesday I want to wake up and do the whole content, but because I know that's set within my week. And Tuesday's a good day for me because all of the players are working hard in the club. You might get a few messages here and there, but I've already caught up with them with whatever's happened the week before. I don't do any sessions on a Tuesday or anything, so it's like a midweek where I can just focus solely on content. And it's worked massively for me because then by the end of the day, I can not only post on that day, but Wednesday, Thursday, all the way up to the following Tuesday sorted for me, which is really good. I
did something similar. So up until probably end of last year, I think I just used to get up in the morning and kind of go, I need to do something. And I was trying to post, 5 days, 6 days a week. And then I started going, normally I try not to book shoots on Mondays and Fridays, and I used to call them my admin days. Now they're our content days. So Monday and or Friday, I'll have that as my content day where I'll go, right, I've already sorted my structure out in regards to this is what's happening over the next 3 weeks, but those days are the days I'll actually record or I'll do, graphic design, carousels, posts, that kind of stuff. Like I say, it's a massive help because the days that you don't feel like it, or even if it's not, you don't feel like it, but something happens, so you pulled away and then all of a sudden you can't do the content. Whereas if you've already got it kind of batched done, it's there to go. Looking at that kind of like personal brand. So again, when we initially spoke, and like you were saying that you wasn't really looking at a personal brand. So you've got Shapeshifter Performance, which is your strength and conditioning brand, your performance side of things, but you've identified that you need to be part of that. And growing from that now is going to be, I suppose, like a personal brand. What does a personal brand look like for you in regards, if we separated that from Shapeshifter, what would be a personal brand for you? What did it look like?
I think it's people to associate me as Kofi alongside the coaching, the performance, as well as Shapeshifter Performance, if that makes sense. So for me personally, like I said, it was more about getting personality on screen, showing my expertise, because sometimes it was posting content, and as good as I, thought I was putting into athletes and building that relationship with players, which was one of my strengths, and getting results, none of it was being shown to the outside world, if you like. So it's been more recently, personal brand, it's not to try and excel as an influencer, but it's just to attach a face and a familiar name to the logo at the same time, really. And I think it has helped massively as well, just with, communicating with the market audience that you want to tap into.
So if I put myself in the spotlight first, so we all need to produce content. There's no, we can't deny that now. It's that's part of your job. As a business owner, as a founder, you need to be out there. You need to be putting your business out there. You need to be putting your face out there. Typically, there's certain content that looks like it performs better. And by better, maybe we're referring more to like vanity metrics in regards to like likes, comments, that kind of stuff. And I always think that kind of content is heavily driven by influencers. So it's a little bit more self-promoting, in your face kind of stuff. I never feel comfortable doing that kind of stuff. Like I say, I would preferably would, similar to you, would rather be behind the camera and would like my content on its own self to do the talking, but now you need to be in front of the camera. Yeah. If you can help me out, where do you think the line is between kind of producing content for your brand and becoming an influencer? Where would you say that kind of line is for you in your business? Yeah, I think it is just like not always chasing that next viral moment or the next viral clip to just purely get likes and engagement, just to purely grow your page or whatever social media platform you're using. And I think you can tell there's a difference between the style of content people are using to get brand deals and earn money that way, which obviously there's very successful influencers. So it's always a good space to tap into if you can do it. But then on the other side of it, from my point of view, does my content actually funnel people into the right conversations in the right rooms with me to then convert into a long-term player or a long-term client with me as a paying customer, really? So I feel like that's the difference I feel like I see in myself and what I try and avoid. Which seems to be working well because I'm not getting any brand deals. I mean, is that something you'd like to get, like more kind of brand deals? I'm not too bothered, to be honest. I'd rather concentrate on the one thing at the moment and build it from there. I was talking, but when we were setting this up, we just got some new lights. That's the smaller. They can change colours. It just makes it easier for us to do productions and vary them. I ordered these lights in November, end of November. And they were pre-order, but they were coming out, within the next few weeks. They didn't actually arrive till March. And I was like, it's so annoying because you sat there, you on social media, you've seen all these influencers and that getting these lights. Thinking, like, I need to work hard. I need to get these lights sent to me, because by the time I got them, it's like they pretty much brought out another version of it. It's like, right, now I'm behind. But I think that's the thing sometimes, isn't it? When you are producing content, you're seeing that people are maybe getting the other benefits of, being an influencer or, even if we're not saying influencer, just having such a following where, there's other benefits. And in my world, that may be like equipment, camera, lenses, lights. For you, it may be, brands as in sportswear and equipment and work with certain clubs or whatever. But I think that is, like I say, when you're a business owner or you're online, you're producing content, it's always something that catches your eye, I think. You always think, So you talked about like the conversion. So you're doing your work, you're working with your athletes, you've got a real good structure in regards to kind of the content you're putting out there. And let's just, talk. We focus maybe a little bit, we haven't specifically named platforms, but Instagram, but you also work across TikTok as well. So you've got your Instagram, you've got your TikTok, you've got any other platforms that you use? Well, I set up like the Facebook and the YouTube Shorts and LinkedIn and stuff, but I found myself spending too much time trying to cross-platform and post across all of them. So I just thought, let's focus on what's working well, and I just stuck at Instagram and TikTok, to be honest. And what would you say has been the main differences for you between Instagram and TikTok with what's helped your business, or what's been a challenge over those two platforms? TikTok, because it's obviously like a feed base, so you just get random followers, random engagement at random points, which is really good for growing the brand and the leverage and getting new people, just insights and eyeballs. Whereas Instagram's a lot more, especially for me, is a lot more direct to the market audience I'm trying to tap into. And because I can actively see them either follow me back or engage with the messaging, so I use them kind of to their own strengths and own weaknesses, I think.
But it's weird with the content side of it. Like you'll get one video that does really well on TikTok, but then performs really poorly on Instagram, and then vice versa. So, and you can't get disheartened by one not doing well and the other one doing well. But I think you just kind of have to use the tools separately to whatever's working for you. And that's what I've done with mine. I rarely talk to the audience I'm trying to tap into on TikTok, but the engagement I get on TikTok is a lot more than Instagram, I think.
So you're putting different content out on those platforms, or is it similar content but just different results?
Yeah, it's pretty much all the same, to be honest. It's all the same for me, I think. And I think I know when I'm doing the content, I know this one's going to do better on TikTok. Yeah. It's more of a, what's the word? Like it'll make them stop on the feed or whatever. Yeah. Whereas I'll know brand awareness wise and people looking in as potential customers will do better. That sort of content will do better on Instagram, but I do just post it on both, to be honest.
So if you were to start, let's say, you were to restart your business tomorrow, knowing what you know now, which would be the first platform you'd go for?
Probably TikTok, I reckon.
Yeah. To get the initial growth.
Yeah.
And then
grow your brand first. Get the eyeballs in, because unfortunately in the world we live in, people look at followers, they're looking at engagement first before they even look at anything else, and that attracts more eyeballs because they're like, oh, what's all the attention about? So if you can grow on TikTok and then cross it over to Instagram and try and build more of a business out of it, where you can use the messaging, because Instagram, the business account as well is really good because you can attach labels to different like leads and whoever you're going for. So this is a good lead, this is one to watch, things like that. And it's really good because you've got like an operating system there, your own CRM board basically. But if I was to start again, definitely go TikTok first, grow your brand, and then try and switch over.
Excellent. And I think, again, the great example of like when you are a business owner, you're not just practicing the craft, which in your case, your craft is your strength and conditioning, your performance. Yeah. But as you're already showing that you're also a content creator, you're now showing that you're marketing because you're attaching labels and leads. And there's so much stuff, isn't it? You have to become an expert in to kind of keep a business going. I know you said you don't really have competition in regards to maybe other strength and conditioning coaches. Your competition is probably more, like you say, the football clubs.
Yeah.
But do you look at maybe what your competition, what these football clubs are doing in regards to content, and see things that they're doing well and things that they aren't doing so well as well? Do you make comparisons there?
I haven't, to be fair. No, not particularly. I think the competition with the football club is more the strength and conditioning side of things, like the work that I'm doing with players. That's where the competition comes in, because like I say, they operate within this bubble where everything's in this perfect little world, and if you step outside, it's way too high risk. Whereas, so when you're trying to get in touch with players and agents and things like that, then that's always the barrier there. But I'd say on the other strength and conditioning businesses, looking at their content, is probably like the kind of like the editing styles of what other coaches do on their pages. There's a few pages that I like to watch because their editing style is nice and like quick, sharp, fast. It's always aggressive music. It almost like when you're watching it, you feel hyped when you get into it, and that's what I try and put into some of my content and training videos. So I take inspiration that way, I'd say.
And do you think music is a big part of your content as well?
Yeah, I think so. I think at the start I was just trying to tap into the trending music on whatever's like trending at the time, which I still do because it does help push it within the feeds and on Reels and on TikTok. But I find my best content comes out when I've got a song. And sometimes, I don't know if you've ever read it, but you'll be listening to a song in the car or in the shower, and then all of it, you go, oh, that'll go to that. And then you can cut that here. Here we go.
So I've got like, sometimes on the way to shoots, or, try and do it on the way to shoots, I will put on music just specifically trying to listen for songs that will inspire me for that shoot. So I'll know roughly how I want to shoot it. And then it's like, what I don't want to be doing is doing a shoot and then coming back and then trying to find a track.
Yeah, it's hard.
And then what I'll also do, so clients that I work with regular, I will have their playlists. So I have playlists on Spotify.
Yeah.
Whenever I hear anything, I think, oh, that will work really well for a future job with such and such. I'll add it into there.
Yeah.
So then what I do is then when I'm up going to that shoot, and if I'm driving, let's say for an hour, I'll have that playlist on. And then, like you say, you know where you're going to cut, you know the general tempo. So when you go into it, you know how you want to shoot it. For me, it always starts with music. It always starts with the music. I always have to go, right, what am I going to go with first? And then that sets the tempo of the shoot. The nightmare then is when you do that and then, you know, you give it to the client and they're like, yeah, I don't like the song. You're like, oh, really?
Yeah.
But it's massive. And I always say to, like, you know, like Farron, who does a lot of the mobile phone content as well, like, you know, you always start with the music, don't you, whenever you're doing edits and run that by. And I think it's massive. Well, I think, like you're saying, with the trending side, it's finding that balance, isn't it? Because you see a lot of accounts where it's like every piece of music is what's trending.
Yeah.
And then it's like, but when is it then not your brand, you know, or not your identity, not your personality?
Yeah.
You know, and it's finding that balance of putting it on, you know, using trending music when it suits, you know, your brand and where you want to go with it. But then equally, don't be scared to show your own personality with your own music choices.
Definitely.
How long do you say Shapeshifter Performance been going for now?
4 years now. Yeah, started it back end of uni. It was supposed to be put in place just to work alongside, so I wanted to go and work in a club. But yeah, it didn't quite work out. And I thought, oh, this is just going to supplement the salary that I want to achieve within my own career if I put it part-time. But then I got into the business side of it and just started learning new things every day. And then you kind of figure out, okay, the reward you can get and the ceiling is so much higher if you go for your own business within this, which is hard because there's not much of a blueprint within what I do. So there's not many businesses I can look at to see, how have they done it? So that was quite challenging at the start and still is, to be honest. But yeah, I'd say about 3-4 years ago, and then just keep growing from there.
Where would you want Shapeshifter Performance to be in the next 12 months? What's the goal?
At the moment, it's going really well, but just raise the bar a little bit with, you know, stabilising certain areas within the business, keeping the structure so I know even in 12 months this is still going to be fully functioning for the next 5-10 years. And I think that's probably the most important thing. And it's not just getting to the next 3 months and then having to rethink the things because things might have gone quiet in a certain area, and you have to obviously there's always going to be things to learn and try and adjust as you go through, because I think that's what your entrepreneur has to do, if you like. But yeah, I think 12 months from now I'd like to just be secure enough that it's going to be able to be a successful business for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, hopefully, until I retire.
Yeah, good stuff. Hopefully you can step down and have someone else doing the crazy stuff for you as well. What role would you say, or would you think content's going to play in getting to that goal in the next 12 months and long-term wise as well?
Mainly it's just that leverage of it is just getting new eyeballs in all the time. And it sounds bad, but almost staying relevant, if you like, because if you can still do it without social media, but it's going to be a lot harder to get across to new people and that way, and almost just build reputation as well alongside it, because sometimes there's so much work you do behind the scenes that no one knows about. So if you've got social media to post and keep your relevancy and almost in the minds of people who might be potential clients, and also the clients that you have at the moment, the players you work with now, it's like they're quite proud to be a part of it. So that's a nice way of having it. You're all as like one team together.
And is there anything that you are still figuring out when it comes to producing your content? And I use this because it's like if there's certain like challenges and stuff, then it kind of can sometimes go, right, okay, let's look at maybe getting this guest in who's going to kind of answer that question. So anything else that you're still figuring out, or challenges that
I think it's still that conversion rate, I'd say. So just making sure you've got, this piece of content is going to have this outcome to then a paying client at the end of it. And you constantly have to adjust that, I think, month by month.
How are you feeling about your content right now?
Right now, good. Yeah, really, really good. And that's from the start of this year, I was still a bit rocky with it, trying to find the structure of posting and making videos, because, like I said, I was just winging it for so long. But right now, I feel like with the structure that I've got, that I know on a Tuesday I need to use these pieces of content, and I cover quite a wide variety of pieces of content as well that I do throughout the day that I know throughout the week. So yeah, feeling quite good and comfortable with it at the moment, which is really nice.
Nice one. 3 quick-fire questions. So 1 piece of content advice you'd give your past self. Quick responses.
Just keep going through the trial and error.
1 thing you think people overcomplicate about content.
That good pieces of content are the ones that get the most viral hits and likes.
And 1 thing you want your content to be known for.
Yeah, the best performance coaching brand for elite athletes and football players.
Massive thanks for coming on to the podcast, on the Feeling Content podcast. Really insightful for me. It's been a good conversation. I'm really interested in performance anyway, whether that be from a sports side of things or getting 1% out of your own personal performance in regards to business and stuff like that. So I think that for me has been a really good conversation. So thank you, and hopefully we'll have another catch up again soon and see how you are in 12 months' time.
Yeah,
see how content's still playing a part in that. Yeah.
Definitely. No, I really enjoyed it. Thanks for having me on.
Quality. Appreciate
really
that,
good,
man. That's
really good. Yeah, I like it.
Really hope you enjoyed this episode of Feeling Content Podcast. If you did, make sure to like, follow, subscribe, all that kind of stuff, and we'll see you next month.